So this morning we're going to talk about the COVID quarantine. COVID-19 is obviously the strain of influenza virus that is going around that originated in the Wuhan district of China, and it has now made its way across the planet. It has hit everywhere, from America to the United Kingdom. It's everywhere. We're going to talk about that. There are quarantines all over the world. People are urging people to stay inside. We are seeing a red flare-up, basically like a red zone effect of this virus, of this new disease that has come forward, that was also predicted, which we'll talk about that in the podcast. Obviously, good morning, and good evening, good afternoon. I'm here with my good friends and co-hosts, Justin and Bailey. We are here for episode 9. We are starting a little bit later than usual, but that's okay. We're here and ready to go. So we're going to talk about all of these things and a little bit about what's going on with us, starting right now. And if you guys, I'm so tired. I don't feel like.
There it is.
I'm tired. Okay. So obviously we're all from different parts of the planet. 2 of us are from the United States, and we have seen a lot in the last 2 weeks concerning COVID-19. I'm not sure if you guys
too much.
Too much, and not necessarily from the virus. We've seen more reactive information and media than we've seen more factual or like cases in America. I mean, obviously America has a lot of cases. But we are seeing very reactive from this virus just existing from the American people. People are buying out stores. They're buying toilet paper, water, milk, bread out the ass, wiping out stores. Stores are destroyed. I can tell you this from personal experience, having shopped at multiple stores in the last day. That it is, or the last couple days anyway, that it's crazy. The stores are destroyed.
Crazy.
It is. It's ridiculous.
I haven't even bothered going because I don't even want to get caught up in the nonsense.
Well, my advice to you would be to go sooner rather than later. To go, if you need to go.
I know eventually I'm gonna have to go, but
I have to. I'm always stocked up on stuff. Like I have like 3 or 4 packages of 24 count toilet paper already. I always have it. And I have tons of water. I always buy like 4 cases. I have 4 cases currently still. I have not tons, but like I have a fridge full of stuff. So like I'm good for a while. But eventually I'll need to go out and get some more things just to make sure I'm certain. They're saying that work is going to be out for at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, maybe a month or 2 months, which is not good for anybody that's obviously needs this money to survive, like myself.
What do you even do at that point? Like on a realistic level, what do you do?
You gotta hope that you have the savings, and just hope that people like will be very like understanding about this. Now we know that President Trump is saying that he's going to do a financial aid for the American people, a package, which is like a check of $1,000 or something like that. I think it's $1,000.
It's only going to get you so far.
But it's only going to get you so far. So now we'll see what they plan to do. Like if they implement a plan where it's $1,000 every month that this goes on, then that'd be something that I could probably deal with.
I don't know how they'd fund that,
but not every family or person's going to be able to get by with just $1,000.
No.
You know, single moms, single dads with 2 or 3 kids. You know, $1,000 doesn't even scratch the surface. No, their kids better be going to public school, and even then, sometimes it doesn't even. It's not gonna really help. So stores are fucking basically wiped out here. A lot of stores. I mean, it's a madhouse. The Giant Eagles that are here local are fucking insane. It's just ridiculous. How it's like a zoo. It's like you throw a banana in a monkey exhibit and they go crazy because they haven't eaten.
It's some shit, man.
It's so dumb. It's ridiculous. So I think the one thing that people aren't doing is acting sane or being rational about this whole thing. Like I understand, like it's a new thing. It's scary. It can kill you, yes, but it affects certain age groups, and people are just even the people that are not really affected by this are.
Everyone's freaking out.
They're acting.
I think
nuts.
this might be the most publicized event of all time.
That's what I was thinking of it. That's why I mentioned earlier. Is like you're seeing too much of it almost because like everybody's just losing their mind.
It's really fucking stressful for so many reasons to like the general public, right? So people who don't have these underlying conditions, or people who don't have, like, you know, aren't of a certain age, but as well for people with like mental health issues, it's also really intense because like for me with having like health anxiety and everything, I'm like I like 2 weeks ago, I was like, I'm self-isolating anyway because I don't want to get this shit regardless of how big it is. So I did that very early on. I'm not like a doomsday prepper, but I was like, you know, it just makes sense because it's obviously
taking
getting
precautions.
bigger and bigger. So it's going to, it just always does. Anyway, so I was taking it easy, just chilling out, and then I went away for like a week, and that was fine. But like people, it's really weird. People are panic buying, but like in really irrational ways. So I went to a shop yesterday, and like all of the tomato soup's gone, all of the pasta's gone, all of the pasta sauces are gone, all of the beans are gone, but there's gluten-free beans still there, a whole stack of them. There's still like every other type of soup that isn't tomato soup, like things like that. Like people aren't buying for the sake of having things. It's really weird. Like I don't know what it's like in the US, but in the UK, like
that's exactly
really weird.
It's like that here too. So like I was looking
like
for
stereotypes of food.
Yeah, no, it's like what do you go to in a panic?
Tomato soup lasts a lot longer. It's a survival food, so like tomato soup will last a really long time, much longer than anything else. With like, granted, any canned good will last a long time. Like any soup, doesn't matter what it is, will last a really long time. But tomato soup,
gonna last 10 years though.
Tomato soup will last a really fucking long time, long time, like years in a can, even after its expiration. So that would make sense why that's gone. Yeah, no, I went looking for like random things, like little things that I would usually get that aren't like they got nothing to do with surviving or like they're gonna be gone soon, and they're gone. Everything's gone. Like all these comfortable things, like these little things are gone. Like God, dude, like I love, like, this is my favorite candy, Sour Patch Kids, and this was the last bag in 3 stores that I went to get it. And I bought a 5-pound bag because it was the last thing that they had. I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it anywhere. Like
I went into a shop yesterday and the entire cleaning aisle, so that's like window cleaner, laundry cleaner, everything, all gone.
Well, that makes sense. That
makes
sense.
Like it makes sense, but it's also like the stupid shit that no one ever buys ever.
And just because it's there.
Just because it's there.
Because it's on the shelf.
Yeah, I don't know. So my university's been closed for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
mine got completely. Closed. So that's going to be it's going to be interesting.
So that's interesting. So I was reading into this last night actually, and I'm glad that you asked for this about to be a topic. But Mike DeWine, Ohio official, is the reason why all of this has started. So everything that he's done to this point is the country has followed suit. So he was the first to suggest that we go online classes. Ohio did it first. We did it, and then everyone else is like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Let's do this. Closed all non-essential businesses. Ohio did it first. Everyone else is doing it now. Everyone around us is doing it. So he's doing all these things. I'm not sure what's on his plate next, but everything that he's done to this point, country has followed. I'm not sure about the world, but a lot of people they're following what this Mike DeWine's doing, which is fantastic. It doesn't matter where it is, but his ideas have been fantastic. I think it's not so much the reaction of the government that is too much. I think it's just the people, like we talked about a little bit. People are over sensationalizing this and like going crazy, buying random shit that just doesn't normally sell out. As for quarantine, you guys, both your schools have shut down. They did that here first. Obviously, they shut the schools down and they shut down all non-essential businesses. I actually got word on Tuesday that I no longer have any hours. I have my job it's closed. It's closed until minimum April 2nd. And that's if they're hoping for April 2nd. They don't know if they're going to be allowed to reopen past that time. So it could be longer, could be 1 month, could be 2 months, but they are urging a county-wide quarantine where I am, and they're asking everyone to stay inside for non-essential trips. They're asking everyone to not see family members, to just stay home and stay inside and sanitize. So I have hit a quarantine level 1, where basically they're not martial lawing it. They're not saying like, hey, like you have to stay inside.
It's like a recommendation.
They're asking you to stay inside and not to go anywhere. And let me tell you, when I go out, it is dead. It is dead. The stores are destroyed. Like, people used to like shop there, but there's nobody shopping. There's nobody out.
It's not like that here.
It's very bad. It's bad here, like as far as reactive. Now, granted, I think Ohio, I'm pretty certain Ohio has some of the worst or the largest amount of cases.
Yeah, no, it blew up there. It had a quite big outbreak.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up right now just to be sure. 120 confirmed cases as of 23 hours ago of COVID-19 in Ohio, when there was previously 0 last week, or very little last week, I think. So it is spreading rapidly. Affected areas. Let me look at this world map here. I haven't looked at the World Health Organization website, the WHO, or the 209,000 confirmed cases. Okay, so if you guys remember, just last week on Friday, do you remember the number I said before?
I think we're at like 140.
139,000 confirmed cases. We are now at 209,000 cases. So that's a big jump, and that's pretty scary. And I guess that gives obviously there's some cause for concern there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have this new thing that's come out, and now it's, we're talking, 209,000. Obviously, there are 8 billion people on the planet, so really that number is minuscule. However, in 2 months, 209,000. imagine. Think about it, how fast this is going to spread, how quickly it's spread. There's been 9,000 deaths in 168 cases, or 168 countries COVID has suddenly popped into. So what do you guys think about the quarantine, the travel bans? Like, there has been travel bans here too, like locally and at the airport. They're not allowing people to leave to go places. So what do you guys think about all this shit?
I think, well, for me, being in the UK, obviously we've seen how other countries like have responded and they've shut shit down really quick. Obviously the US did the whole travel bans thing. Italy went into quarantine very quickly, this, that, and the other. And in the UK, there's been this really weird, very stereotypical British approach of, it won't happen to us, it's going to be fine, we'll just ignore it, which is just stupid. Nothing was done about it for a really long time. Nothing has been done about it still. So I went away to like a holiday. It's kind of like a holiday park, but it's like in the woods. So we were like, oh, we'll see what it's like. That area basically said whilst we were there, if we want to leave up to a certain point during the week, if we leave, then we get a full refund and rebook. We didn't leave. About 70% of people left, so it was just empty. So for us, it's like, okay, we either be in like a major city or in the middle of the fucking woods where no one is.
Yeah.
So we stayed there.
Who's really isolated at that point? You guys.
Exactly. So I came back today. I got back here at like 1:30 my time, and the streets are full. Like, everyone is out. Everyone is buying things.
Carrying on with life.
It's really weird because it's gone from people carrying on with life to like people freaking out and people acting rather odd. But it's very much in the typical British way, which is, oh, we'll be fine. And our Prime Minister's saying, oh, we'll be fine. You're gonna, like, he literally said, people are gonna lose loved ones, but we'll get through it on like national television. That was his response. And it's like, they've banned mortgage payment, like they've halted mortgage payments, but not renting payments. The majority of the UK rent. So it's a bit like, I still have to pay my rent. I can't leave the house. I've no longer go to university till the end of, like, I have to do all of my studies online now, and I'm doing a music course, which is close to fucking impossible. And still, people are like, oh, it's whatever. So it's really frustrating.
I think it's serious. I think we're gonna get through it. Like your Prime Minister is saying, we're definitely gonna get through this. I don't.
Well, there's no other option. We have to. Like,
no shit. There's no other option. I can't imagine.
Precautions you could take at least. I
can't imagine that this is going to. I mean, it could. It's very possible. I'll talk a little bit about it here after I'm gonna let you go first, Justin. But I was watching something on Netflix that actually released way before this came out. And it's called Pandemic, and they're talking about this, and the guy that they're interviewing goes all around the world all his life and studies every single strain of influenza and disease and everything that he can. He studies animals every day of his life, and he's trying to catch new viruses and catch strains of viruses before they go to a human contact and start spreading like wildfire. And something he said in the beginning of the documentary shook me to the core and made my hair stand straight up. I'm not kidding. He said that China, this is just completely unrelated to COVID before it even came out. He said China has some of the worst influenza strains that he has ever seen in his career. And he is shocked to this point that it has not spread around the world. A new one has not spread around the world in ages. And this is months before COVID came out.
Yeah.
And now COVID come out. Wuhan, China, it's come from. So it's fucking nuts. Anyway, go ahead, Justin. Tell me about your experience with this so far to this point.
I think things have been pretty light around here. I mean, the stores are definitely rated and everything from what I've heard. Like I said before, I haven't actually gone out and seen just because I don't want to be bothered with it. But like most of the local businesses have cut off times, and I think they actually were just shut down either yesterday or today. Like most, like you said, like businesses that are required to be open, like I guess hospitals, that sort
like
of thing.
Pharmacies,
like,
grocery
stores.
Yeah.
Supermarkets, just like things people need, necessities. But like you could still find stuff if you're not in a rush. Like, I think that's a big cause of all the panic, is everybody's in a rush to get stuff, so they're gonna post things online like, oh my god, the whole store is rated, but if you go back like a few hours later, there might just be stuff on the shelves.
Well, people are freaking out. I don't know what it's like there, but people are freaking out here because people like when it first got like announced as like a pandemic, everyone started panic buying. Everyone freaked out, and then because people were panic buying and there wasn't anything left, then people just started buying whatever was left. And now everyone is acting like the world's going to run out of food, and it's just like the amount of consumption required hasn't changed. It's just everyone's buying a load of everything for the sake of it, so it looks like there's no food in the shelves and there's nothing there. When they restock, it's going to be there. It's not like there's not there. So like here, it's really frustrating. Like we haven't been put on lockdown yet. People are thinking it's going to be within the next week, like this week kind of thing. That's what people are saying. But then again, I don't know what the US news is like, but the UK news is very, very fear driven. It's very like just silly things that they will take one part of a quote and it will be the most negative spin on that as possible to freak people out. So everyone's having a bit of an adverse effect to it, but they haven't locked down yet. They haven't this, they haven't that. So it's people are just kind of living in this weird limbo stage of the rest of the world's in lockdown and we're not. Why is that exactly? Because there's been quite a lot in the UK. There was a couple in my city actually, not too far away from me. Isolated cases, thank God. But yeah, it's really weird.
There's a few towns around me that are popping up.
Mainstream media here is the same way. It's a panic fear-induced state. Fox News is most notoriously responsible for that. Their headlines are always usual.
It clicks, doesn't it? And that's how they make their money. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get that. But yeah, so let me read some of this chat here. Yes, those cases that I mentioned earlier are worldwide. Tyler, Italy has some of the top deaths. They do. Italy has it the worst right now. I think they surpassed China actually. So I'm not sure what's going on over there.
I don't think they surpassed China.
I'm not sure what.
That was this morning.
Or was that? Oh, maybe.
Let me see.
But I know China's on the way back down. Like China's improving pretty rapidly.
Are they good? Well, so China in the early stages of this.
Trust what they're saying.
They isolated people early and they built hospitals early specifically for these cases because they knew that it was going to be bad. And if China's doing that, then obviously we have to say, okay, here's this country that has Asian countries have billions of people. They have a very large portion of the world's population. Person per inch or whatever per fucking. They have so many. I don't know what the number is. It's high.
person per inch.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Person per fucking foot, like it's fucking high, dude. Okay, so Italy's death toll takes over coronavirus pandemic, rising to 3,405 deaths. So far. Oh wait, hold on. Coronavirus death toll. Italy's death toll from coronavirus pandemic rose to 3,405, overtaking total number of deaths so far registered in China. That was yesterday. It did pass China. I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Let me see.
But then again, this is the thing that like annoys me about the way that this has been covered is a lot of it. Even our like obviously we have National Health Service here. You guys don't, so it's like free healthcare for us basically. There's nothing on what to do if you get it. Nothing. It's just like everyone's freaking out about how to avoid it, and there's nothing about what to do when
you get it.
Every single death in the UK, I believe, as when I checked yesterday, every single death in the UK has been from the age of 56 to 84, I think, all of which with fairly severe underlying health conditions. But like, this is the thing, people aren't saying how many people have recovered. People aren't saying the amount of people that aren't in critical cases. It's just like one number. And the thing about Italy, there's a very high density of people later on in life in very isolated areas. So when that gets given to a very isolated community of fairly old people in a very isolated area, it's gonna spread. And if their immune systems aren't high because they're old, they can't fight it off.
Yeah.
So the thing I hate it. It's very much it's a two-edged sword, but we're only seeing one side of it.
So I'm reading this statistic right now. There are currently 144 deaths in the UK right now. This is via the World Health Organization, and you guys are rising to an average of 40% increase per day as this goes on. That's very high. That's really high. So I think there is some cause for concern, and also I'm a little bit concerned considering you said you went out and then people were acting like nothing was going on. You still have an average of like a very like high amount of traffic. That's kind of like okay, like we need to like I think like we talked about this a lot. Like people are definitely going way overboard with this, but I also think that we need to look at this and be like, okay, like this is serious.
No,
so like
people are either like it doesn't matter or everyone's gonna die. There's no responsible outlook on it.
So personally, for like this quarantine, like obviously I'm not sick, right? And it's easier to tell. Like, it's easy to tell when you're not feeling well, right? You just know. Like, when you're not feeling well, you know, like, okay, well, I normally feel way different than this. What the fuck? Like, it might take a little while for some self-realization, but you come to realize, like, okay, what the fuck? So, the quarantine has come in, and it has affected everything in my life. Like, obviously, as a streamer, I'm in all the time. I'm streaming all the time. And we know that, right? Like, and I'm used to that, and I'm okay with that. But I had the option and freedom to go out if I wanted to. So, like, now everything's closed. I can go to the grocery store. I think they're still open, but I can't see my parents. My mother is 62. My dad's 73. I can't see them. I could have it right now. I was reading. I could have it, and my immune system's really strong because I never get sick, and I could be fighting the fuck out of it, but not know it. I work in a retail setting, you know, and while this COVID was going on for a month, I was working in retail. And so, I mean, I could have it, even though I'm not exhibiting any signs of any illness at all, right? I can't see the girl. I can't. That situation's completely irrelevant, kind of COVID-19, but because they changed the hours at work, so they closed the store, and what they did is they make every full-time employee that works there, they still have to come in behind closed doors and work, which makes no sense because we have no clients, we have no customers. So I don't know why they're doing that, but that's what they're doing. But they changed the hours from 10 a.m. or to 10 a.m. till 7 p.m. every night while this is happening, while this quarantine's happening, until from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., which is what she had before. So I can't see her. So I can't see my parents. I can't see my sister either because she's a medical professional, and she works with patients every single day. So does my mother. So that's a double whammy for my mother. My mother's older, and she's in a medical field, so I can't see either of them because I could have it. I can't. So it's really like, and I go to my parents' house to do my laundry, which means I have to pay more money that I don't have to do my laundry here in an apartment. Most apartments make you pay in America to do your laundry. So like this quarantine is really affecting everything. Like it's even affecting my little comforts too, because I went out to buy basic things and I had to buy a 5-pound bag of Sour Patch Kids, like I said in the beginning. Like I couldn't even find strawberry muscle milk, which is one of my favorite things to drink. Like I make smoothies with strawberry banana muscle milk and I couldn't find it. It was gone. It was one of those little things like, why is it sold out? Yeah. It's gone. Like I went to 6 places for it. I even called 2 other places, GNC. That's a vitamin retailer, a health fitness retailer. They don't have it, and they're closed. This is fucking nuts. Like it's crazy. It's very serious. Saying, yeah. It's very serious, but it's also like, what the fuck, man? Like this is so dumb. So yeah, so like
the after effects of it all are more stressful, I feel, than the actual worry of the disease itself. Like my thing mainly is school being closed, so that was a big way for me just to kind of get out of the house, like go do things, keep my mind productive. Like now I'm just kind of sitting around and bored and don't really know what to do. I mean, I was gonna be on spring break anyway.
Yeah.
I don't really have any homework to do.
Did they close down your track?
All my... yes, all the events got pushed back.
Yeah.
So I don't even have photos to take. There might be private days here and there that I might be able to do, which would be really sick. Other than that, it's just like nothing's really going on. It's like a weird state because like I said, it's a light kind of quarantine, if you want to call it that. Like you're not technically quarantined, but it's recommended that you don't go out and don't go in big groups of people.
So your county's doing the same thing, if not your state is doing the same thing Ohio's doing. Yeah.
I think
we're getting close to it.
It's better to be safe than sorry, honestly, in my opinion. That's why I've been like, other than when I went away, and the only reason I went away is because it was a sanitary environment where I was in an isolated place. Like it wasn't like there's hundreds of people constantly merging and touching each other. It was like an isolated place, so I was fine with that. Well, we'll see, won't we? I only got back today, but yeah, like I was thinking about it, and like my uni got cancelled, and my university requires so much uptime and so much time put into it, and all that's like gone now. So I don't know if I'm taking exams this year or not. I don't know, but I was thinking about this on the way home and whilst I was away, and people are obviously going to be inside. They're going to be sat, bored, doing nothing, very much like we are, which is just like,
I'm horrible with this. I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't I don't like being bored.
I know, me neither.
I don't like being bored either.
I think that content creators actually have like a massive responsibility at the moment. Reason being is,
I agree.
Like global mental health at the minute is, and I think it's really important for people to have that, that consistent, either day or bi-daily thing to kind of keep their heads up, because keeping a positive mental attitude is what's going to make this bearable and what's going to help people through this. And
this week, I'll admit, it was a pretty tough week. I think just the shock of not having anything.
Well, because it was so sudden,
It hit you quick, yeah.
Like, usually you have things to look forward to, and
I was going to go to a gig
planned out,
cancelled now,
and now it's just kind of like there was a day during the week where I had no motivation, no momentum for anything because nothing was going on, and I just kind of laid in bed all day, and like. I'm never like that. I am never like that.
I think I'm the same boat as you. We talked about this. I've been sleeping all day. Because what am I like? It's depressing.
I had to realize that like what was going on and how I was feeling, and just tell myself that like today's fine if you want to lay there and do nothing, but you can't stay like this forever.
Yeah.
You have to do something to kind of keep some momentum going, because in the long run, like, hopefully this doesn't last that long, but you don't want that negative mentality to stick with you past.
No. The way I'm looking at it, and some people might think it's a bit stupid, and some people might not. I don't really care. But obviously, like a month ago, this wasn't really a thing, or it was a thing, but it was very much like outsiders looking in, like, oh, China, and that was like super heavy, super quick, right?
Mm.
And now we're starting to see, like, I think last time I checked, which was this morning in China, there hadn't been a single new case confirmed in 24 hours, which is like new for them. Like every single day there's been more confirmed cases, and like yesterday was the first day all day there was no new. So that's a sign of improvement, like things are doing things right. I've seen graphs of the as where isolation has taken place versus the amount of new cases that have been confirmed, and that's going well. Like if everyone was isolated and it was still multiplying at a rapid speed, that would be a problem. But when people are isolating themselves and doing the right thing, it's getting better. So I think that it's going to be a case of just like take it on the chin, suck it up and deal with it. But for the, not to sound overly dramatic, but for the sake of the human race, it makes more sense to be bored than it does to be dead. So
yeah,
that's why I think it's really important that content creators at the minute try and keep that positive mental attitude and keep everyone upbeat and positive, thinking about good things. Like I don't even think, like, after this podcast, I'm not really going to talk about it because there's so much littered everywhere all over the internet. People can't escape
you
it.
can't go 3 hours without hearing Corona.
I can't open up Twitter without
reading Corona somewhere.
popped up.
But in the same light, is it really irrational to be talking about it a lot? No, I don't think so. Not at this point, no.
There has to be a balance, I think.
But I mean, there's a time and a place.
The world
right?
is not balanced.
There's a time and a place, and like, and every day that I've been live to this point, I've heard about it. COVID-19 in my chat at least once a day. Jimmy, what's going on? Eric, what's going on? Seth, what's up, man? Good morning, guys. Yeah, so I mean, we're talking about 209,000 cases in 2 or 3 months, less than that, whatever it may be, whatever. It's a couple of months at least, and we're rising. And like, obviously, self-isolation is a really good way to take care of this. Also, I think a big issue that the world's going to have, if they're not already, I mean, we're already having it right now, is testing. We don't have, no one's getting tested. We're just walking around spreading this shit. And that's why it's going everywhere. We need I don't know what it takes to build a test kit for a new virus. I think you need, like, I don't know.
They do it in Australia. I know they have testing clinics in Australia. I'm assuming
it works somewhat to the degree like an antivirus. Like you'd have to like have the virus and build an anti from the virus itself. And I'm assuming a test kit would work the same way. They'd have to have a little bit of it to find out if this person haven't.
I don't know anything.
I don't know anything about it, but
with it being the type of thing it is, it's an RNA virus, so it can change.
Yeah,
that's why the flu isn't cured.
So
because it changed.
And this documentary, and I highly recommend that you guys watch it in the chat, and then obviously you boys watch it. It's on Netflix. It's called Pandemic. It's a 6-episode series. It would be longer, obviously. It's like 6 hours long. But they talk about all this. And the guy talks about the influenza strains in China that he's constantly trying to like keep track of, along with everything else in the world. And it's terrible there. They get it from birds. Like, we didn't have all these massed farms. We didn't have all these people 100 years ago. And to put it in perspective so that everybody can understand, and I think he said it was 1919 or 1918, we had an influenza strain come out of the left field when we didn't have planes. We didn't have shitloads of traveling all over the world every single day. We didn't have mass animal farms. And it killed...
Didn't have social media.
It killed hundreds of thousands of people. It killed hundreds of thousands of people in 1918. And now it's 2020, where we can fly, train, car, boat, everywhere in less than a day sometimes. And we have 209,000 cases already. Only 8,000 of those are confirmed fatal. 9,000 confirmed fatal, but still, like, it's a very real, scary thing.
I think people get into the conversation of ratios and likelihood and statistics and all this shit, and it's like, to an extent, like, JR, if you got fucking coronavirus tomorrow, likelihood is you'd be fine, right? You're healthy.
Maybe, maybe. I have asthma, though. I have asthma.
Well,
I have respiratory issues, so it could kill me. Absolutely.
Well, say I won't use you as an example then, because that's a terrible example. But say someone has a perfectly fine immune system and they might just feel a little bit like, and that's fine. That doesn't mean that they can't pass it on to someone else who passes it on to someone else and passes it on to someone else. And that's why people need to realize that even if on an individual level you might have a really strong immune system or be able to look after yourself, that doesn't mean that you aren't affecting other people, because like you could be taking it like a champ and be like,
All collateral.
that's fine, but then you could touch a door handle which some poor old lady touches, and then that's that. You know, that is as simple as it is, and I don't think people are viewing it in the right light. But at the same time, I also think there's a rational way of getting the information that you require, and I don't think social media is the way to do that. Personally, I think if you want to find out about the details of it and what to do and the newest updates, is to go through the direct websites like the WHO, things like that, because that is from the source. There's no dramatization. And
Well, you got a lot of social media doctors now.
yeah, exactly. Like
And
this is the thing. It's just
granted,
not worth.
some of them have read the correct documents and probably have the correct information, but
You
there's
still
a lot of people
can't.
out there just
You just got to read from the source,
just-
man.
You've
I
got
mean,
to
it's
read
just
from
it.
the source, because this is the thing. You all, as much as you need to protect your like physical body, you need to protect your mental health as well. Because physical thing is one thing. You could get a like COVID aside, you could get a cold. It lasts a couple of days, and you'd be fine. Physically, you're not. You know, that once it's done, it's done. Mentally, if you put yourself through a constant state of stress, that's gonna have long-term effects.
Mhm.
Believe me, I would know,
Yeah,
because I'm
it's
still dealing with it. But it's one of those things where I think maintaining a positive mental attitude and getting up, like even if people have nothing to do, getting up and going to bed at the same time every day, making yourself a list of things to either better yourself or do the things you need to do.
that's
So
what I
you're
need to get.
so you're
better
getting
on is-
that daily accomplishment and keeping your mental health
Mhm.
high. Even though people
This-
can't go out running, just get a workout in, do some push-ups, do some sit-ups. Make yourself feel good. Try not to shut your life down, because we don't know how long this is going to last for. All we can do is make it as enjoyable as it is.
Mhm.
So
This
look after
past week has
yourself.
been a lot of just waking up at like 11, 12 because I got nothing better to do.
Yeah, exactly.
And for some, that might not even seem that bad. Like 11 or 12. All right, it's midday, still got the rest of the day ahead of you. But usually I'm getting up at, say, like 6:37. So
Yeah.
that's a good portion of my day that's just gone. So when I wake up, it's like, well, I just kind of burned through that rest of my day.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of what I have left feels kind of worthless because I already missed out on most of it. So today was a big change, I think, for the better. I've been trying to run in the morning, which,
Yep.
like you just said before, some people don't have that luxury of doing it, but luckily around here it's like a kind
Pretty
of
quiet, yeah.
yeah. So I'm able to just go to like the local park and still get that in.
Yeah, it's
And
important.
now I
to
don't
make
really
the
have an
most of it.
excuse not to do it because I don't have school anymore. So I guess you got to find the positives in it all. Like before,
Yeah.
with a busy school schedule, going to school in the morning, that's usually when I run.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't able to get that run in, and now
Yeah.
kind of frees up a little bit of time. It definitely opens up opportunities for other things, like the drift events, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
I just gotta hope that they still hold them. But
Yeah. Well, this
That's,
is the thing.
for
It
later on
wasn't
down the line.
around in the same light as it was a month ago, and it could not be. It could be drastically better in a month. It could be drastically
Mhm.
worse in a month. We just don't know. I mean, for me, I'm like, I need to do something productive, and university isn't happening. So I'm streaming every day, even if it is just for an hour or two. I'm doing it every day to get it in, get the uptime in. And
you guys plan on playing any new games?
no, because I'm skint. So there's the short answer of it. Or broke would be the correct term.
Mhm.
Because they've cancelled all of the NBA and everything. Yeah.
We do have a responsibility to maintain a positive mental attitude, based on all the things that we're seeing. If you're in the creative business, obviously. Yeah, I got you guys. Thank you. Yeah, so like we do have a responsibility to maintain that PMA, and since we're in the limelight, and to try to be as upbeat as possible. But like you also said earlier, Bailey, like you have to maintain a healthy lifestyle or some sort of lifestyle that's going to get you through this, because we don't know. Reality is we don't know how long this is going to be. This could be 2 weeks. This could be 2 months. We might even be quarantined or not even out of this until the end of summer. If maybe longer.
Yeah.
We don't know. Like
Yeah,
we don't know what.
I mean, this is probably an exaggeration or whatever you want to call it, but I've heard September too.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
Don't know.
I've heard that we just don't know.
That's pretty far out there, but
That's far. Bro, it's a long time.
That's 6 months, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I stuck up my months. I mean, this is the thing. If they say quarantine until that time, if they're gonna let people out of quarantine, that's gonna be like when we're kind of getting consistent no new cases for an extended period of time. At that point, it's like, okay, that shit's sorted. Obviously, we don't know what kind of medical progressions are going to be made. This is the thing. There's so much like unknown about the whole thing.
Just have a revelation that
exactly. They could be like,
everything.
oh, we figured it out, and by the way, we've cured the common cold as well. So, you just don't know. Like, one time they might be good news or bad news. That's why I've been limiting my social media intake and muting certain words, because I have reputable sources I go to if I feel the need to get information on it, and if I don't want to see it, I don't see it, because it's one of those things. But it's moving around, it's going from place to place. That's why I'm staying inside for the remainder of however long, because quite frankly, I don't want to risk it. So
that's a smart way to do it, and I think that's what everyone should be doing. I think we should be going outside as little as possible.
Could I also quickly answer Mr. Halo's question? Because he asked what
we talked a little bit about this earlier, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's fine. Hold on 1 second before we do that. Seth says, me and my girlfriend found out yesterday that her sister had corona 3 months ago, and she didn't go to the hospital, and she had a fever of 103. To that comment, man, like I'll say, and like I'm guilty of this too, is that I won't go to the hospital if I'm sick. I never do. Medical insurance in America is absolutely outrageous. It's the medical system in America is fucking terrible. It's pathetic in comparison to other countries. It costs an arm and a leg to go to a medical professional, and I would rather almost die than go, because it's going to cost me. It costs me so much money, and not every job offers medical assistance. Not that could be the reason, but I personally, I've had a fever of hundreds before, and I've not gone. 103, 102, 105. Like, obviously, if your brain hits a certain temperature, it's going to fry and you're going to die. So it's like, it's really important if you got to stay cool. You got to cool your body off. But I wouldn't go to the professional either, medical professional either. The government of my state just declared all non-essential businesses to close. Where are you at, Jimmy? Where are you?
Pennsylvania.
You're in healthcare and you can't stop working. So my sister and my mother, we talked about this earlier too, are both medical professionals. I can't have contact with them because I could have it, and they can't do anything either. They're also restricted. We're going to talk about the UK response and lack of response. We also know that there's 144 confirmed deaths in the UK, Mr. Halo, that we talked about earlier, and that your average rate of corona increase is 40% per day on average right now, which is super alarming. 40% a day is unbelievable. I mean, it's a very large portion of people.
I'll touch on that as well.
And I think I'm all caught up. Okay, you're good. You're good.
Okay. So regarding the UK thing,
although 40% is incredibly high, if there was 150,000 cases in the UK and 40% increase a day, then that would be understandable. But there's been a fairly limited number of cases, grander scheme of things. Obviously, it's taken way too long for in my opinion. I just want to clarify, I'm not a politician, right? So I might be talking out of shit, but in my viewpoint looking in, we saw early completely locked down. We saw Spain locked down. We saw America close its borders. With like all of these countries are just like, and close. France is giving out X amount of money to healthcare professionals to pay for hotels, to give them support their families, everything, because they know it needs to be sorted. Obviously, the US are talking about giving like, you know, money to people. I can't remember the
$1,000. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like a tie you over kind of thing. All these countries are helping each other out or helping out their own citizens, and the UK is sat on its arse doing absolutely nothing, not helping people, not preventing anything. It's just kind of like, from where I'm sat, it's taken 3 months for the UK to be like, yeah, maybe stay inside, wash your hands. That's kind of it. And
sanitizer.
Like, I'm sorry, but there are some absolutely disgusting people in the world, and just because you send out a text message or play a news article does not instantly make those people hygienic people. This is why people need to stay inside. Where I was, there was a swimming pool. Yeah, exactly. I went to the bathroom. I shit you not, 6 people walked in and out, didn't wash their hands. I'm a massive germaphobe. I'm there like 20-30 seconds going hand to the point of cracked knuckles, and these people are just... So for me, it's like, if you know that there are people like that, it's not hard to see that people are like that. It's really not. If you're like that, like, you should be isolating yourself. And the UK has done nothing. It hasn't closed its borders, nothing. I have loads of people in my university who are foreign students, who are from Italy, who are from here, who are from there, and all went home because it's my break now. It's my holiday from university. They've all gone home. And the UK isn't, like, I'm not saying like keep them out there. I'm just saying, like, if you've got all these sister countries that are shutting shit down and the UK is like, that's all right. But then again, Britain's always been like that. In any scenario, it's like, oh, we'll be fine, it won't affect us. That's the mentality now, is it won't happen to us, it'll be fine. That's why you have seen such a big increase in people, because people aren't thinking responsibly. I'm hoping that now because it is actually happening, and don't get me wrong, 2,000 plus people, however much it is, isn't a good amount by any means. But, you know, for the sake of news articles, when it first was happening in the UK, it was like deaths in the UK double overnight, which sounds really crazy, but that went from 20 to 40. So you look at it that way, 40%.
So the United Kingdom currently has 2,630 cases.
Yep.
That is very high. I'm looking at... So what's scary about this whole thing is I'm looking at the World Health Organization, the world map. What's scary about this is that every country on this map that I've seen so far has at least one case.
Yep.
Even like the countries you've never heard of, or like the smallest places, at least one. So like some of the bigger amounts is that America currently has 7,087 cases. Let's see, Russian Federation.
Well, so you got to take population density into consideration with that as well. But
81,000 in China.
What, in Russia?
In China.
I was gonna say.
No, Russia has 147 for as big as it is, and that's they're doing something right, clearly, because
it's cold. It's cold and sanitary.
That's true. That's true.
Wasteland.
Switzerland currently at 3,000 count plus. Sweden at 1,200.
Not actually.
Yeah, and Sweden has ridiculously good healthcare.
Sweden has also a lot of traveling people, a lot of travelers.
Well, this is the thing. Like any country with a lot of in and out flow of people, it's gonna happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is why it pisses me off that nothing was done in the UK earlier, because there are so many. Well, like, grand scheme of things, we're a tiny island, and there's a lot of like travel globally to and from here. So it's like, anyone gonna do anything about it? But like
that's why I was worried when my school didn't shut down.
Yeah, me too. I was super stressed about it. There's
an airport, like a main airport, a main railway that goes through the city. 70% of people going to the school commute. It's every check mark to say, hey, close this place down. And then they're like, no, it's a low transmission rate.
Same with me. My university is in the center of the city, pretty much, or close to. There's a lot of international students, and it's like a lot of people touch a lot of things. So
Yeah, there's just a lot going on. There's a lot going on everywhere, and I think it's everyone's responsibility to sanitize yourself. Obviously, like, God, I can't believe I mean, I'm not that anybody in the chat here or either of you guys would have to listen to this and take this advice, but like, obviously, be sanitary. Fucking wash yourself. Wash your hands after you use the restroom, after you touch door handles. Use hand sanitizer always. Like, I've always got, like, luckily for me, I've always got a stash of hand sanitizer always, because I use it all the time. I've used it all the last years of streaming. I always have a bottle right here. I use it while I'm live, even.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I use it all the fucking time. So I have, like, 10 bottles in my hall closet. I always have it in stock.
I'd say that you're upgraded.
It's fantastic. Now,
New world currency.
Now, another thing, let's talk about that a little bit towards the end here, since you just mentioned it. But I've not heard or seen anything about this, but I'm sure it's probably a thing: looting and robbing people of their houses from their stock. What do you guys think about? You think that's a very realistic threat at this point? The way people are acting with grocery stores where they can pay for things?
I don't think yet. No.
No, you don't think so?
It's at least here. It's very sensationalized, the reaction of people, but it's also unjust. It's not necessary. If there was genuinely like, that's it, we're shutting shops, no more, like, we're done, then yeah, maybe. But the way it is now is people are freaking out, but the supply isn't stopping. Like, so in the UK, they're limiting, like, in pretty much every supermarket, they're limiting three items of one type of item per person. So, for example, someone couldn't go in, buy 3 cans of tomato soup, 3 cans of chicken soup, etc. It's just 3 soups. That's it per person. Because I've seen, like, I went to an Aldi. It was after I spoke to you actually last week. I went to an Aldi because our Tesco was out of everything, and I saw a guy. And bear in mind, these are young, healthy people doing this as well. I could just keep that image. I went to Aldi. I think it was to buy some pasta sauces or something, because like at this point I'm just trying to cook dinner, And there's no pasta on any of the shelves, and there's about maybe 5 of us looking for some pasta, right? And the guy working there takes a box about this big with like bags of pasta in it. So say there's like 8 bags to a box, 10 bags to a box, right? This guy puts this box on the shelf. This guy who wasn't stood there comes in, literally runs in, takes the entire box, takes the box straight to the checkout, freaking out. And everyone stood there like, well, what the fuck? Like, so-and-so's got kids. There's, me and my girlfriend. Who knows? And there's this woman bought like, must be 30 plus rolls of toilet roll and only 24 cans of chopped tomatoes. That was the only thing she bought from that shop. And it's like, that's not reasonable. That's not going to sustain you, nor is it beneficial for any of the other people. So that's the kind of where things are at the minute. I think if there's genuine supply issues, then yeah, maybe. But it's like, if someone comes to my house, I'll just cough at them.
That's such a UK self-defense thing. I'll fucking tell them off. I'll just fucking tell them to fuck off.
If someone if they're behind my door, I'll be like, they'll run, dude. They'll run.
Yeah, so I told.
I'll learn some kung flu. I don't care.
Some kung flu. Jesus Christ. So the girl that I'm talking to, so what the job is doing is they're making us, people can still buy online from our store, and we take it out to them. So what she's doing every single time is when she goes out there, because they're telling people to stay inside and stop, like, essential items. Like, understand the business that I work for doesn't sell essential items. Clothing and like outdoor games. Why are you shopping right now at our store? You have no reason for this. So, well, maybe maybe outdoor games, like they can use them indoors for morale. So maybe I take that back, my previous statement. But people are shopping a ridiculous amount. I'm being told, like, we're still making like 10 grand a day, that's a lot of online business. That's like 1,000 orders a day plus. But she's coughing every time she goes out, fake coughing, because she's trying to encourage people to stop shopping, like to stop, because like she's risking her health every time. She doesn't have it, but every time she goes up to some person's car, they could have it, and people just aren't being cautious about this sort of thing. Obviously, I think the looting stage is here. I do think it's here. I think people, I mark my words, mark this podcast, quote me right now. You're going to see in a news article soon somewhere that people are going to start robbing businesses and looting because they're going crazy because of this quarantine within 2 weeks. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. And I people mentioned it to me every single day. My dad is an officer, an ex-police officer, mentioned it to me. Make sure you're locked down tight. Make sure you got the guns ready, JR, because people are going crazy over this shit. And, like, you need to be ready. And obviously, I am ready. Well, I'm not ready. I could never be ready for something like that to happen. However,
you have the means.
I have the necessary means to do that if I need to protect myself and my dogs.
I would hope people would have the decency to.
People aren't decent right now. There's nothing decent about people right now at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously in the UK, like London is a prime example. Like just because of the way London is, anything goes on, people start rioting. Which is a bit counterproductive considering large groups of people. I don't know whether there's going to be like an Instagram live riot. I don't really know. But yeah, I mean, the US is a very different story, isn't it? Because I mean, at the end of the day, someone rolls up on you. Hey, here's a gun in your head. What's good? UK, it's like, don't do that to me, governor. And then you get punched in the face. Like, it's a different thing here. Do you know what I mean? So I've got a 10-kilogram dumbbell here. I'm going to get curling.
Yeah, so
off intimidation factor alone. So
it's important right now. In closing notes here, it's important right now. Thomas, what's going on? Mariah, what's up, dude? To stay active in your house. A lot of people are not familiar with this, whereas I am actually. I work out from my home. My home is my gym, and gyms are closed. They've been closed for a little bit now, and people can't work out, but. Try to find something to keep your mind busy. If you guys are in the chat, then obviously you have Twitch at your fingertips, Mixer at your fingertips, YouTube, DLive Gaming. You have all these platforms, Facebook Gaming at your fingertips.
We're here for you.
We are here for you.
Those things that you've been wanting to do for the last 2 years.
Start a hobby,
been able to do because you've been busy.
Unless it involves going out. Don't listen to that advice. If it involves going out.
Don't start learning like.
If you've been putting off that book or that game,
do it.
Get into it.
Yeah, do it. Now you got time. Well, not everybody has time. Some places are still open. Some retail locations are still staying open regardless of all of this, and it is what it is. I mean, just don't have any control over that. But yeah, I think
also support creators too. Not necessarily us, but people are working overtime to try and keep everyone happy. So trying to spread the happy word.
I'm working overtime to pay my bills and keep everyone happy too. All right, guys. But that's gonna do it for us right now. We just hit the hour mark. We definitely gonna stop here. We have gone way over every podcast from the last, I think, the last 5. We are almost on podcast number 10. This is number 9. Basically, this would be basically 10 if we add that Corona bonus. Basically, this would be the 10th bonus that we did last week because we went way over. But we're going to call it here, guys. So at the end of the day, the moral of the story is to, not really the moral of the story, but the advice that we would give you is to try to stay as motivated as possible. Find things to entertain your brain. Stay active in the home if you can. Work out, do push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, whatever you need to do. Don't get yourself down too much. Don't overreact. Don't act crazy, okay? Get what you need, but don't fucking put everyone else at risk doing this. And just try to keep
Wash your hands.
A level head on your shoulder. Stay sanitary, and stay sanitary. You stay alive in this crazy world we're currently living in.
It'll turn into Tarkov if we're not careful.
I think it's going to turn into fucking Pandemic or Outbreak, the movie. Cuba Gooding Jr. Go watch it. It's fucking nuts. Originates from a bird, just like this. Anyway. All right, guys. Justin, Bailey, thank you for joining me as always, man. Today was a little chaotic, but I appreciate you both as always every week. I look forward to this. You guys are awesome. If you guys want to keep up with us outside of the podcast, you can find me at twitch.tv/DudeiRage right here on this channel, twitter.com/DudeiRage. You can find Jay Briswa at Instagram.com, which will be on the screen for the studio version and in the description below for the YouTube. And then you can find Mr. N3TSY _ at twitter.com and N3TSY at twitch.tv. That's Netsy. Make sure you guys check these guys out, and we will see you very, very soon. Thank you guys for watching or listening. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend and your day, and we will see you guys next week. I love you. We love you. Goodbye.
Farewell.